Thought you might enjoy the skydivers that I threw in there.
Hear him yelling. Okay. All right, now go ahead and swing at a golf ball now. Good. And you can go ahead and, yeah. Good. Good. Keep breaking those wrists in that new way. Okay, good. Golf is the hardest sport there is. Y'all are doing great. Excellent. You're going to start with the new right hand in the fingers so that heel's on top so that you can have that new backswing. And then you're going to swing and pose. Swing and pose. Just swing and pose. Pose, pose. Excellent. Look at that finish. Very nice. Swing and finish. Very nice. Now, good finish. Look at that back foot on the toe. Very good.
We're going to go through your swing. Now, as a beginner, I approach swing analysis a little differently than when I'm doing a player who's been playing a while. With beginners, I'm building the swing, and my goals are to first establish a foundation layer of fundamentals first, the essential fundamentals to build on top of the next set of fundamentals. The golf swing is broken down into 10 positions, and the starting position is the number 1 position. Norma, one of the first things I changed was your grip. And the reason to make the change was so that you could hinge your wrist properly to get the club in a better position at the top of your backswing and load some power in your hands so that you could deliver the club into the golf ball with sufficient speed and consistent positioning of the club face on the ball. I'm going to compare your grip to 2 or 3 of the pros. Now flip them around so that they are left-handed. As I look at how you hold the club with the left hand, you have a very good position. This crease here is pointing right up the arm into your back shoulder. This is Tiger's grip flipped around as a left-hander. And you have your left hand in the fingers so that we can see this crease right here. You have that thumb up against the hand to form that crease. That's very good. If we look at Tom Watson, you can see that he has that crease. That thumb is up against the hand, and this is pointing back to his back shoulder. Jasper Parnevik is in the fingers. This forefinger is pointing downward, just like yours is. This here is Anthony Kim. That forefinger is right behind the handle, and this crease is going towards his back shoulder, just like your forefinger is. So your left hand is in a really good position in the fingers of the club. Now, what's different, though, is the right hand. I cannot see the handle of the club come on this. We're inside that circle. I can see your handle because you're not using your right hand to cover the handle up. The pros cover that handle up by having that hand rotated so that the right hand is in the fingers and that the pad of that right hand is sitting on top of the club. And so on each example, you're never going to be able to see the butt end of the handle from this camera view. But you have your right hand rotated underneath the handle instead of rotated on top of the handle. And that creates a lot of issues in your swing. You're not able to leverage and hinge the club properly in order to produce a correct golf swing. As Grant comes back and gets into this position, and then I'm going to take you to that position. you can see when Grant's arm is parallel to the ground here, the shaft of the club has been brought up into a right angle. And your shaft and arm are still pretty much in a straight line here. You haven't really hinged the club up at all. And one of the reasons is because of your right hand, in that you have it underneath the handle and you had it in the palm of your hand. As I continue this further back, you can see how this back of this hand is bowed. It's rounded right here. And Grant has that flat, doesn't have that bent and bowed at all. And so this position here is the problem in your backswing that we had to change, and the reason you're bending your wrist that way, which it should not bend in that one bit in that direction, is because of the way you held the club in your right hand. And so that's the first change I really made with your swing, is how you held the club in your right hand. On the right is your swing after we changed your grip and learned how to hinge the hands properly. And you can see, it's not a close-up of your hands, but you can see how the back of your left hand is facing the camera. I can see the flap of your glove going across the back of your hand. The swing on the left, you have the back of your left hand facing away from the camera. You've rounded that wrist. Here you've cupped the wrist, you have it in the correct position. There are going to be other things that sabotage you, but this is an excellent start in building and establishing a good fundamental grip of the hands. Now this here is one of your first swings after changing the grip. It's in a much better position. As we look now at that, I cannot see the butt end of the handle. You have put it more in the right position. You're more in the fingers. You're in a much better position. Now on this first swing, you hit way behind the golf ball, and you didn't hit it very well. And you had managed some success at hitting the ball before we made the grip change. And I just want to, it's important that you understand that you can do the wrong thing and do it enough that you can hit some good shots, but you're going to be very limited in its potential. Now the reason you hit this first one, you hit the ground way behind the golf ball, has nothing to do with your grip. Let's draw a circle around your head, and the distance you are from the center of your head to the golf ball is that. Now as you go back, you can see how you've moved your head away from the circle. You're up very tall now. You're much further away from the golf ball. The center of your head to the ball is now much further distance. You're in a good position in terms of the wrist. You've got that new wrist hinge. You've got that labeled facing the camera like all the pros would have it. Then as you come down and you hit the ground 6-8 inches behind the golf ball, but it's mainly because you've dropped your head down really low, and so the distance you are to the ball is very, very short, and you didn't have any room to swing the club without hitting the ground. You got so much closer to the ground in your downswing that it was almost impossible not to hit the ground. And it has nothing to do with your grip, other than because of the new grip, your subconscious mind wasn't very confident or comfortable, and it kind of tried to do this swing that was kind of being careful, trying really hard to hit the ball, and you felt like you had to get closer to the golf ball to help you hit it. And by getting closer to the ball, you actually created a problem with the space to swing in. You didn't have enough space to swing without hitting the ground. Now what you're going to see the pros do is they're going to swing and keep that head pretty close to that circle all the way through. And they're going to rotate around a stable axis so that there's not a lot of fluctuation in the geometry. Now the second thing we worked on was the finish. And on the right you can see how Grant has finished off, and he's solid on his right side, and his back foot is on the tip of the toe. And so the swing on the left is going to be the swing you had after the first change, and that's changing your grip. But we did not yet work on the finish. So this is your swing. And as you finish, you're still pretty flat-footed here. But then we worked on that a little bit. Now we're going to show you the swing after working on it. Very nice. So you're solid on your front foot and you're on the tip of the toe of the back foot. Very good. Very good. Now, when you did this swing, before you took it back, you had moved your right hand a little bit more back to where the old place was, kind of halfway between the new place and the old place. Wasn't in as good a position, and when you took it back, that right hand got rounded again right here. So we're going to have to continue to work on that. That back of that left hand is not facing the camera like it was earlier. And so that's going to give you some issues in that we'll correct. Now, during our first session, we spent a lot of time on putting and chipping before we got to the full swing. And so our next session, we will spend a little bit of time on putting and chipping, but more time on the full swing fundamentals and get this reestablished.